This is it, the best part of your day and the best part of ours. Welcome to Inspired Sports, your place for clean sports talk with real inspiration. I'm Alex Pratt alongside the Scott Jakeway.
Alex, it's upon us.
It is upon us. The Super
Super
Bowl is
Bowl.
upon us.
It's been set.
Are you
It's
are
done.
you ready? Are you ready for another Patriots Seahawks Super Bowl?
I cannot wait. I think this one's going to be just like the last one. I think the Patriots are going to win.
Oh, wow. Just right out the gate.
right
we
out the
literally
gate.
have 2 full weeks, multiple episodes to prepare for our picks, and Scotty Jakeway is just throwing the doors wide open. Well, there it is. I'm going to save mine. We'll leave a little mystery for the listeners. I'm going to save my pick. I don't know. I'm honestly kind of still making it. So if you're out there and you're unsure, then you and me are in the same boat because I don't know how we got here. I don't know how we allowed this to happen. I don't know how the Patriots have a great coach and quarterback again. But I need to dial it down, Scotty Jakeway. We let's talk a little bit about how we actually did get here on championship weekend. Let me hit you with, did that just happen? Scotty Jakeway, did Sam Darnold just become Super Sam because he had the game of his life versus the Rams in the NFC Championship?
The game of his life is an understatement.
Gotta be kidding me.
I mean, we have coined the phrase "Donalding" on this podcast.
Oh, you're such a good friend. I'm sorry to interrupt you again. You're such a good friend. We have coined the phrase "Donalding." That is so kind of you to take that upon yourself because I put my stake in the ground and I created a verb called "Darnolding," and I need to take my my punishment because Sam has proven himself something special. So I'll get out of your way, but I just want that's really nice of you. You did it. That's not your fault. I created that. I giggled every time I said it, and I was fully convinced it was going to prove itself true, yet here we are.
We have one more game for it to possibly become a thing.
That's so true. We could see a Darnold. Okay.
Could you imagine?
I'd feel so vindicated.
The game of his life and then wind up on the big stage and just Darnold all over the place. I mean, like that.
We literally asked the question if he's become Super Sam. We say he played the game of his life, and we've said Darnolding like 6 times in the first minute.
All I'm saying is he just may do it.
I see what you did there.
But I think this is how I feel about the game. Going back to the question, yes, he played the game of his life. I mean, both quarterbacks over 300 yards. 3 touchdowns each. I put it in the group chat of our guys that do our picks every week, and I said the first quarterback to throw an interception loses, and I got that wrong because neither one threw an interception. Both quarterbacks had a passer rating of over 127. In my eyes, you can't get much perfect than that. So much and so. Can we just cancel the Pro Bowl and just play that over again?
I love that idea. No Pro Bowl. Let's play the NFC Championship again. See if we can come out with a different outcome.
Let's rock, paper, scissors it. Best 2 out of 3. I'm down. I don't know if the Seahawks would want to take that bet, but it was a game, and Sam Darnold had the game of his life. So if he can duplicate that on Super Bowl Sunday, I don't know. Only time will tell.
I was torn. So there were 2 Alexes watching this game on Sunday. There was Alex that needs to be vindicated and see Sam Darnold fall on his face. And there was a moment in the second quarter. I don't know if you remember it. No one really paid much attention, but he took a snap and he fumbled it. And they took a 9-yard loss. So it was essentially a sack because by the time he grabbed it, he just laid down and covered it up. And I was like, Sam, there it is. Here it comes. That's step 1.
It's coming.
There's the Darnolding is happening. And then ultimately, that was just a blip on the radar, and he played an amazing game. So congratulations to Sam Darnold. And I just like to say that this is literally my disaster season in the NFL. The Chiefs, were floundering all season long. Mahomes ends the season by tearing his ACL. And somehow Sam Darnold is not only in the Super Bowl, his team is the favorite to win the Super Bowl at this moment.
That's wild.
I don't know.
That is
this
so
is
wild.
just the perfect cherry on top to my disaster season. And I may have to retire the verb Darnolding unless we have a Super Bowl hiccup, and I'm holding on. I thought about retiring it after that game, but I'm like, you know what?
Ah,
The only
no.
thing more Darnold to do is to Darnold it up in the Super Bowl. So I'm not
On the
letting go of that
biggest,
verb, but
yeah.
I give my word.
Yep.
If he, in our final episode of the season after the Super Bowl, if he does win and plays well, I will retire the verb Darnolding, and I will never use
Ah,
it again on this podcast.
give the fans something to look forward to on the very last episode. I like it. Good job.
Well, listen, that second game was an incredible game to watch. The fan in me, that
Yeah.
was the other part of me. The fan in me was just enjoying what was a truly, I
Oh,
believe, the
absolutely.
most enjoyable football game that I saw all year was
Oh,
the
yeah.
NFC Championship game. So that was the other side of me. Is I was really enjoying watching the game. It wasn't going the way I wanted, but the game itself was great. What wasn't
Agreed.
as much fun to watch is what was going on in Denver. So let me hit you with that, Scotty Jake Way. Did that just
Ah,
happen? Did home field advantage just ruin the Broncos' shot at the Super Bowl? Because Mile High Stadium just turned into a literal snow globe on Sunday.
it was like the Patriots, like, put in a cheat code to start the 4th quarter because or the second half. I mean, it was like, what was it, like 3.5 quarters, 3 quarters? Like, it was they showed a time lapse, and it was like 2 totally different stadiums, and it was, like, nice and green and sunny, and then 4th quarter, it's all of a sudden snowing, and my son, all he could say is, "Dad, this happened to Tom Brady one time. I remember it." Like, it's happening again. The Patriots are in, like, the snow game. And I'm like, "Yeah," and I really thought they were gonna, like, you never knew what was gonna happen, but the Patriots wearing white when it's snowing just feels like a Patriots cheat. Like, it just feels like that was I mean, how do you play a team in white during snowstorm? It was terrible to watch. I mean, 7 what was it? 10-7,
10-7.
bunch of
10-7.
block
Final
I
score.
mean
10-7.
I did not see that coming. I mean, the whole time I'm thinking Drake May's gonna just dominate, the backup quarterback in Denver, and he scored first, and it was looking like a decent game until the Patriots put in the cheat code and
There was a moment there in the first half where this game looks like it could have gone the other way. I mean, you have the
yeah.
Broncos jump out and they score the first touchdown. Jarrett Stidham throws a touchdown pass, and then they march back down the field and they are in position to kick a field goal on fourth down and go up 10-0 at home in a playoff game with a backup quarterback. And all I've heard since then is that people are shocked and appalled that Sean Payton went for it on fourth down.
Ah,
And it's fourth
yeah.
and 4, and they didn't get it, and they end up turning the ball over. Ultimately, obviously, they don't end up scoring another point. Had they kicked that field goal, they would have been in position for perhaps a tie or see what overtime is or what the game looks like after that, right? I just would like to point out that if that fourth down conversion had worked and they had, ultimately they would have been right inside the 10-yard line, you know, and they score a touchdown, they're up 14-0. People would just flip to the other side of the conversation. They'd be like, Sean Payton is a genius. He knows exactly when to go for it on fourth down. It was like it didn't matter what he did, and people were just going to have an extreme response either way. And what I'd like to say is no, the snow did not ruin their chances at a Super Bowl. Sean Payton did. Because Sean
Mm,
Payton is the NFL version of live by the 3, die by the 3. He is live by the fourth down, die by the fourth down. Man, that guy is
yeah.
uber aggressive, and I like that in a coach. But you have to know, like, there's going to be times it's not going to work out. We're talking about Sean Payton. That this is who he is. If you remember, Scott, the Super Bowl he won against Peyton Manning. He comes out after halftime and they do a surprise onside kick. That's who
Yeah.
Sean Payton is. And it worked. And they
Yeah.
recovered. And it was one of the coolest things I've ever seen in the Super Bowl. But two of my favorite Super Bowl moments of all time have nothing to do with my team. It's Sean Payton's surprise onside kick and Devin Hester returning the opening kickoff for the Bears. And so both of those things, I believe, happened against Peyton Manning. Poor Peyton Manning. He won the game against the Bears and lost the game against the Saints. I say all of that to say, like, it was Sean Payton's fault, but it was also Sean Payton's the reason that they've had this resurgence and that they're in the AFC Championship game. And I just feel like anyone who wants to throw shade at him, I think you're just being hyperbolic and it's unnecessary. Yeah, it was his fault, but that's who he is, and that's how he's gotten where he has gotten to.
Yeah. You're not wrong. I still think the snow played a bigger part, watching it live, and I'm like, how could anyone see? I mean, no wonder, you know, Jared Stidham threw that interception at the end. He probably thought his guy was wide open because, he didn't see that the defender. But no, you're
Do
not wrong. I mean, it definitely.
Can you see it on TV? I feel like I can see it. When there's snow like that on the field, it makes all of the players look human. Like they're
Oh,
moving.
yeah.
You don't realize how fast they are until they move that slow in the snow. And you're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, these guys are insanely fast," because that ball was in the air forever and the DB looked like he was slowly jogging and just turned around and jumped up and caught that ball. So, I don't know.
My favorite was when Jarrett Stidham realized he wasn't gonna be able to throw it like a long ball, and he, like, did a chest pass to, like did you see that one?
Yes.
It's
Yes, the
like, that's a pass I would make if I was put into an NFL game right now, like, "Oh, no, no, you take it." Like, that
I
was that's when I realized he was
I would like
human.
to toss out one thought. And I listen, you and
Okay.
I, this is us and our weird hypotheticals and our conspiracy theories and things like that. True or false? Do you believe that if the guy hanging over my shoulder, Tim Tebow, on
Mm.
Sunday, if he had showed up 1 week before and just you had made Tim Tebow the quarterback of this Broncos team, do you think Tim Tebow in the snow could have led them to victory?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, right? Timmy Tebow would have been
Absolutely.
running around, man. He would
He
have
would've
found a way.
Yeah, and after watching Philip Rivers come back and do what he did, I think every retired quarterback should, like, be a consideration moving forward because if he can do it, I think Tim Tebow would have had a blast. If nothing else, he would've been a lot of fun to watch.
I think it would have been a ratings boom.
Oh,
And speaking
absolutely.
of, you mentioned Philip Rivers, he actually interviewed this week for the head coach position for the
He
Buffalo
did.
Bills. He also withdrew his name, I believe it was today or late last night. He withdrew his name from consideration. But that's not the
Ah.
only coaching news that happened this week. Scotty Jakeway, let me hit you with, did that just happen? Did the Steelers just hire a hometown hero? Because Pittsburgh native Mike McCarthy is the new head coach of the Steelers.
I think it's a terrible decision, and if there's anyone angrier than me, it's gotta be Aaron Rodgers, like, having flashbacks, like, "Wait, what? What?" I mean, let's set the stage. The Pittsburgh Steelers had a coach named Mike that hovered around 500 for 19 seasons, closer to 600, but, give or take, and his last Super Bowl was in 2011 just to simply hire another coach named Mike who hovered around 500, close to 600, give or take, and his last Super Bowl was 2011. It's like deja vu, and I can't imagine that this recipe is going to work for any amount of time. I think he is a 1-year firing in the making. I
No
do not see this
way. That
happening.
is a
I think
Scotty wildcard Jakeway prediction if I ever heard one. The Steelers, who don't fire coaches, have had 3 in franchise history who just got rid of a coach who had been there for 19 years, are going to fire Mike McCarthy after 1 season.
if Aaron Rodgers comes back if Aaron Rodgers comes back,
I don't see
Mike
it.
McCarthy will only be there 1 season. If they have a different quarterback, he may have a shot, but I don't see this lasting long. I think this is a terrible decision. I think this is absolutely, a desperation move and clearly, in my opinion, makes it seem like they had no idea Mike Tomlin was retiring or stepping away, like he did. I feel like they were in shock, and this was desperation, like, "We gotta grab someone," uh, and it also tells me that no other coach out of all the coaches that were available, not one of them wanted to come to Pittsburgh except Mike McCarthy. That's
This is
tough to
a
buy.
lot of Pittsburgh hate from you, Cowboys fan. I don't know if it's just because you feel you've got jaded from Mike McCarthy's tenure in Dallas, but I
Yeah, I
think
am.
you're misremembering Mike McCarthy's tenure in Dallas. Forgive me as a Chiefs fan for telling you, but I don't know if you remember, you won the division multiple times. You had 2 12-win seasons. The best season of Dak Prescott's career happened when Mike McCarthy was the coach. Your team was in the playoffs. Your team is undoubtedly worse since Mike McCarthy left.
He was 1-3 in the playoffs. It doesn't do anything to get to the playoffs.
He was 1-3 in the playoffs.
He was 1-3 in the playoffs with the Dallas Cowboys.
That means he made the playoffs 4 times. I mean,
and
yeah, because he won one game, so he made the playoffs 3 times.
Yeah, and he was also 49-35 while he was there. So 12 seasons or not, that's hovering around 500.
49-35 in the NFL is not hovering around 500. That's a solid win.
No.
Listen, let me answer the question because I think we're sidetracked. We're over on the Cowboys. No, I don't think they hired a hometown hero because the only way to be a hometown hero is to win in your hometown. He hasn't done that there yet.
And he's not.
I'm not saying that I think that he will. But what I'm saying is Mike McCarthy is a good coaching hire. He is a good coach. He's a Super Bowl winning coach. He has a win percentage of over 60% in the NFL. And everywhere he's been, that team has been a playoff team. It was playoff teams in Green Bay. Every year they were right there in the playoffs or right on the edge. Had the Cowboys winning the division and in the playoffs. I don't understand the Mike McCarthy. People just feel like he's very blah. And I understand that he doesn't have this big personality. He doesn't have Mike Tomlin's charisma. I get all that. But at least they made a decision to go on the offensive side of the ball to try to do something different in that area. But I have to admit, I'm a little concerned that they hired the guy who's from Pittsburgh. Because didn't they just do this with Kenny Pickett? Kenny Pickett out of the University of Pittsburgh, where they draft him in the first round. It's a complete disaster. He literally played in the Steelers stadium his college games, and he had already been in the stadium. Like, he'd already played there. So it's like, I get the concern. I just think Mike McCarthy is a solid coaching hire. Like, the Arizona Cardinals hired Jonathan Gannon. How did that go for 3 years? Like,
terrible.
Like the Carolina Panthers hired Matt Rule. I can give you 1,000 bad coaching hires. Mike McCarthy has never been a bad one.
He's not. I don't like him. I don't think he's a good fit. I think he's outdated. I think his time has passed. He did great things in Green Bay, but I was not convinced of anything that he did in Dallas. And we didn't go to the playoffs because of Mike McCarthy. We went to the playoffs because of the team that was around him. It was not a good coaching position, and I think the same is going to happen in Pittsburgh. I just don't like him.
There it is. The truth comes out on the last sentence. I just don't like him. He is, and says the jaded Cowboys fan.
And you know what? I could be, I could be looking back on this in a year or two and going, man, don't be that guy, because that guy was just simply jaded. But I digress. We'll wait to see. But I feel like I'm more right than wrong on this one. But moving on, Alex, let's go to our next segment, which just so happens to be, don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy.
So, Alex, let me hear it. I know you have one in
Listen,
you.
this is our trademark segment. This has always been the crowd favorite, and we have not done it for a while.
Day one.
We have not done it for a while. People have been acting entirely too responsibly and entirely too mature and been making too many good decisions. We need a little more outrageousness, and I think we got it in the last 24 hours. You and I are both ready to go with a new version of Don't Be That Guy, and I'm going to kick it off. Mine is for Seattle Seahawks cornerback Riq Woolen. Riq Woolen, that's right. He's like 6'4", crazy wingspan, uber athletic, very talented, had an amazing rookie year, a little bit rocky since then, made some great plays in the game. But let's talk about what happened after one of those plays. Riq Woolen, after the Seattle Seahawks stopped the Rams on an important third down conversion, forcing them into 4th and 12. 4th and 12, Riq Woolen starts taunting the Rams sideline. He is right on the sideline, and he is parading himself down the sideline, talking trash to coaches, players, and anyone who comes across his path. And the referee throws a little yellow flag. And he gets called for a taunting penalty for 15 yards, converting 4th and 12 into a first down for the Rams. The Seattle Seahawks at that point had the Rams down. They weren't knocked out yet, but it was almost over. And then they brought new life because on the very next play, Matthew Stafford hits Puka Nacua for over a 30-yard touchdown pass. And
Yep.
guess who was guarding Puka? Riq Woolen. I didn't hear a lot of jawing after that touchdown by
No.
Puka Nacua. I didn't hear him talking any trash to anyone, and the entire stadium in Seattle was deflated right in that moment because everyone just went, oh no, it's all going to fall apart. And credit to Sam Darnold and the rest of the Seahawks for holding it together and getting the win, but Riq Woolen seriously put the win in jeopardy because he could not keep from taunting his opponent. It's like, man, this is clown stuff. This is the sort of stuff you're supposed to learn when you're playing football for the first time as a kid. Like, keep it classy. Know the moment, by the way. Like, you're up
Yeah.
55-10 and you end up getting one of these and everyone's like, hey man, come on, cut it out. But okay, whatever, we're going to be fine. He didn't know the moment. He almost cost his team the game. And to be clear, for anyone out there who's going, well, these refs, they just throw these flags. It's not fair. I am so tired of hearing the excuse, Scott, from pundits and commentators and fans and the internet. These guys are just caught up in the heat of the moment. It's the war of battle. It is not battle. It is not war. It is football. I love it, but it is a game. It's not battle. It's not war. And you should be able to control yourself and keep it classy. Riq Woolen lost that battle in that moment, trying to keep himself classy and keep his team out of trouble. And I'd like to clarify that the referee didn't even have like this overreaction because a report came out today that referee actually told him to stop taunting twice. Not earlier in the game, Scott. In the moment, he's like, hey, cut it out. Hey, cut it out. Nope, he keeps jawing all the way down the sideline. So the ref finally throws the flag. The game gets put into danger. And I'm just saying, Riq Woolen, you're going to be a free agent this summer. And I know multiple teams are going to pursue you. And I truly wish you all the best. But it's going to cross every GM's mind because I promise you, every GM saw that game. Like, can I trust that guy? Like, in the biggest moments, can I trust that guy? Come on, Riq Woolen. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. I mean, that's just sad. I mean, no when to stop. I mean, especially like I get it. I've been a player before. You start jawing, you trash
You feel
talking,
good
especially
after
a
a
rival like
play.
that. But if the ref is in your ear telling you twice already, don't do it. Don't do it. Stop it. I mean, you got to know when to stop. And as my dad, the former ref, would tell players, I always like this phrase, like, I'm gonna miss some calls, you're gonna miss some shots, you're gonna drop some passes. Like, don't blame me if you lose the game. And I guarantee Seattle would have blamed that ref if they had lost, but thankfully Sam Darnold brought them, to the W. But yeah, don't be that
Don't be
guy.
that guy.
But I've got one better for you,
Bring it.
Alex. I've not got a player. I've not got a team.
Okay.
I've not got a division.
All right.
NFL.
Hold on. Just to be clear, you're taking on the entire NFL?
I'm taking on the entire
I love
NFL. NFL. I'm starting out by saying, don't be that guy. Because reports came out today that Drake May, as customary, decided to step away from the Pro Bowl because he's getting ready for the Super Bowl. It happens. The Super Bowl quarterbacks or players tend to not want to play in the Pro Bowl at risk of getting hurt or they gotta travel. They never do. And so the quarterback for the AFC had to be replaced. And the NFL had to make a decision. And did they replace Drake May with someone that could have possibly been higher, in the voting? Like, I don't know, maybe a CJ Stroud or Lamar Jackson, Joe Flacco, maybe Joe Burrow. What's more fun than the Pro Bowl for Joe Burrow? Could it have been maybe Aaron Rodgers as one last hurrah? Cam Ward, he's a rookie. Trevor Lawrence, who lost, in the playoffs. I mean, there's so many names. No. they decided to do the most idiotic thing that you possibly could and replace Drake May with the one, the only, Shedeur Sanders. It's Shedeur
Shedeur
time.
time.
And Shedeur, I want to congratulate you for absolutely ruining the Pro Bowl for all eternity moving forward. We cannot take the Pro Bowl seriously any longer because we're talking about Shedeur Sanders, who had 7 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. We're talking about the guy that had 8 starts with a QBR rating of 18.8, which just so happens to be the second worst QBR rating, not for the Browns, but all of NFL history, behind one only Jimmy Clausen for any quarterback that had more than 6 starts.
Oof, brutal.
I am saying, NFL, don't be that guy. You have lost all credibility with this pick. In fact, so much so, there's only one choice that you should have made. And that choice is pick nobody. It would have literally been better for you to pick no alternative and just played the Pro Bowl without Drake
A cardboard cutout of Drake May.
I mean, this is ridiculous. I can't. There's so
How
many
do you
other
get
quarterbacks.
into the Pro Bowl with more interceptions than touchdowns?
It is the Pro Bowl is the equivalent of the All-Star game. It is supposed to be the best of the best. And yes, I know and I understand that in the NFL, because it's physical, a lot of players that are your all-stars don't want to go out to this, especially because it's turned into kind of a clown show anyways.
Yeah, it turned into flag football. Yeah.
It is now even more of a clown show for all the rest of the NFL history, because now we will always look back on this specific Pro Bowl and say, remember the time that a quarterback with a QBR rating of 18. I'm just saying.
That's amazing.
Ridiculous.
You know what, Scott, let's make this declaration together as the creators, originators, and content supervisors of all things inspired sports. We, in protest of this Shedeur Sanders decision, we will never again mention players by their number of Pro Bowls. So we won't say like 12-time Pro Bowler Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
We won't do that. We're out. We're out. You either got to earn the All-Pro, which is voted on by actual media members and taken seriously, and All-Pros are actually built into players' contracts. You know what I mean? Like if you get an All-Pro, there's an incentive for that because that's taken seriously. No one has Pro Bowls written in there. So we're done with it. Listen, we've broken some big J journalism, some real journalism stuff here on Inspired Sports. And I think when we exposed passer rating as being a broken metric earlier in the season, I think that was our big journalism moment. And this is number 2. The Pro Bowl can no longer be counted as an accomplishment. Shedeur Sanders ruined it.
Agreed. Shedeur Sanders, you have ruined it. But you know what? There is only one thing that is not ruined. And that is the next segment, the moment of truth. Because that will always be tried and true. That will always come through.
Shedeur, you can't ruin it.
You can't ruin that, Shedeur. So, Alex, please, before I get on any more rants that wake up the family or, the neighbors come knocking because I'm getting so loud, please take it away. The moment of truth.
I've got to take
Alex Pratt.
I've got to take a moment. Poor Shedeur. Let me be honest. If I were Shedeur, I'd take it too. I'd go to the Pro Bowl. Sure, why not? No problem. So this isn't really a Shedeur problem. We're just being a little bit surly. And maybe that's because we're a little bit tired. Maybe that's because we're over here just working hard to bring great content to all of our valued and appreciated listeners. Or maybe we're just a little bit surly because, Scott, the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl. Seriously, how did we let this happen? I'm going to share this devotion, but it has to start with that question. How did we let this happen? It feels like it was just yesterday that the Patriots were torturing us with their boring bowl of 13-6 and their 25-point comeback on the Falcons. Thanks, Falcons. Thanks for ruining that Super Bowl. And we literally had to watch Russell Wilson throw away a Super Bowl into the hands of the Patriots at the goal line. I mean, I feel like we got no days off from the patronizing Patriots. They are back in the Super Bowl. I mean, that no days off was actually their motto. Scott, I don't know if you remember that. 2017, they started saying no days off. That was the Patriot motto. I mean, the motto was just as smug as that Patriots dynasty was, acting as if they just work harder than everybody else and they just could not be stopped. And honestly, to be fair, they were the most dominant NFL dynasty of my lifetime. So kudos to them. But Bill Belichick, I remember it distinctly at the Super Bowl parade for the Patriots after they won the Super Bowl in 2017. He leads a chant of no days off. And I can still see him standing there in the cold, lifting the Lombardi trophy up and down as he chants, "No days off, no days off." And the crowd is just eating it up. It's literally the only time, Scott, I think I have ever seen Bill Belichick smile. He was loving that moment and loving that motto. And I kind of understand it because I've heard that many times that NFL coaches, like during the season, they live a very grueling life. They work 18 plus hours a day, 7 days a week. They are literally no days off. They're often away from their families for extended periods of time. And it makes you wonder, is this a profession for them or is it a punishment? 18 hours a day, 7 days a week away from your family. I'm not sure I could do it. Maybe it's moved past a healthy passion and it's become like an unhealthy obsession. I guess that's what you have to be to win these kind of playoff games and Super Bowls and to be at that level of coaching. I don't think I could do it. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I guess I have to say Bill Belichick was right. It's literally no days off for NFL coaches. And that reminds me of a scripture in Exodus chapter 20. I'm going to read Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 through 11. I'm reading from the New Living Translation. It says this: "Remember to observe the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. You have 6 days each week for your ordinary work. But the seventh day is a Sabbath day of rest dedicated to the Lord your God. On that day, no one in your household may do any work. This includes you, your sons and daughters, your male and female servants, your livestock, and any foreigners living among you. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and everything in them. But on the seventh day he rested. That is why the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and set it apart as holy." This is Exodus chapter 20. This is where we find the 10 commandments. Scott, I know you know that. And I also know that you know they are not the 10 suggestions. They are not the 10 proposals or the 10 if you feel like it's. They are the 10 commandments. And one of them directly addresses rest. And that's why I'd like for all of us to remember that rest is required. And sometimes I can't help but smile when I read my Bible, Scott, because I think there are times that the Lord is kind of, grinning or just waiting to see if we notice the way that the Bible was written and presented to us. And the the way that God shares things with us through the Bible, it just makes me grin sometimes. And that I'm going to share one of those right now. I mean, for example, like in this commandment, God uses himself as a teaching example. He is his own sermon illustration. He says, "Hey, if I created the whole world in 6 days and then rested on the seventh day, then that's how you should go about your week." And the only logical response, the only reasonable response is, "Yes, Lord, if it was good enough for you, then it's more than good enough for us." But as is often true with the theme or concept of the devotions I share on this podcast, I have to admit, I'm not very good at this. No, I don't work 7 days a week, but I am really trying to make sure that the day we dedicate to the Lord as a family isn't just a day to pull back on work, but it's a day in which we are doing what Exodus chapter 20, verse 9 says, that day is dedicated to the Lord your God. And in order to do that, rest is required, right? We know that. But also, in order to understand how to do that, rest needs to be redefined. And to do that, I'd like to start by talking about what rest isn't. Because rest is not distraction. It's not getting on our phones or getting on social media or reading sports articles. It's not scrolling until your thumbs are tired. It's not thinking of other things so that you don't have to think about what's in front of you. That's not rest. And as believers, we have to have a different definition of what rest really is. Rest also, it's not entertainment. Rest isn't television or movies or however you choose to entertain yourself. It's not meant to be entertainment. I kind of like to think of it this way, Scott. Rest is not soothing our flesh, it's refreshing our spirit. And I think Jesus was trying to show us that in Matthew chapter 11. I'm going to read Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 through 30, and this is what it says. Then Jesus said, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and carry heavy burdens, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you. Let me teach you, because I am humble and gentle at heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy to bear, and my burden I give you is light." Jesus says to all who are weary and carry heavy burdens, he says, "Come to me, and I will give you rest." And I couldn't help but notice that he didn't just say weary, tired, need a nap, need a good night's sleep, need a little time off work. He said those who are weary and carry heavy burdens. He made sure to include that. And I believe, Scott, it's because he's talking about a kind of rest that is meant for your spirit, that is meant for your mind, that is meant for your emotions, and perhaps other things that I don't even have time to get into. But because of them, you are carrying a heavy burden. When Jesus says in verse 28 that I will give you rest, that word rest actually literally means in the Greek, it means to refresh. And in Jesus alone can we truly be refreshed. Absolutely. We should take care of our bodies and take a break from work and have a good night's sleep. That's part of rest. Even have ourselves a nice little Sunday nap. Who doesn't like that from time to time? But our spirit needs connection with our Creator, our Father, our Savior, our friend, our Comforter, and our Counselor in order to be at full strength. Our spirit needs and craves that connection. That is the source of real rest. Rest has to be redefined. Rest is something we find in the Lord. And it also means that if that's the case, then this statement is true. Rest is best. I know, the rhyme is pretty lame, but it's true and it's easy to remember, so I'm going to use it. Rest is best. Because when my body and my spirit are tired, Scott, I'm never at my best. I can't do it. It's literally not possible. I cannot be at my best when my body and my spirit are tired and weary and I'm carrying heavy burdens. And that means I can't be the best for the people that I love the most. For my wonderful wife, for my awesome kids. They deserve to get the best version of me. And I believe that God delights in helping me to give that to them. And that requires me finding rest in the Lord. Now, let me be clear. I seek the Lord and his rest, as should every believer, because I desire to be near him and to know him. But as always, he's a good father, and good things flow out of that pursuit of him. And in this case, that includes helping us to be at our best for the people we love and to overcome the challenges that we face in this life. So, for everyone listening, I want you to consider what it says in Psalm 91, verse 1. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. And so, as I close this devotion, I actually want to issue a challenge. Sometimes we pray. Sometimes we take a moment for reflection. But I really want to issue a challenge, Scott, because I think that fits best for this devotion. And the challenge is very simple to everyone listening. Do less, rest more. Do less and rest more. Seriously, our lives are like closets. They tend to collect clutter. And it's time to clean out what isn't necessary and make room for more rest. Rest
Mm,
for our body, our mind, and our spirit. Real rest. Resting in the shadow of the Almighty.
mm. I love that so much, Alex, because I think we have tools and resources as Christians that the world does not have the ability to offer.
Absolutely.
And I know a lot of times people equate rest with sleep or laziness or I'm just gonna do less, and those are all part of, possibly resting. But I think there's a key to resting in the Lord. I like
Absolutely.
what you said, rest in the Lord. It's similar to, people equating happiness and joy as the same thing, when really, joy is something that the Lord
Right.
gives, and happiness is an emotion. I feel like rest, like true rest as a Christian, physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, can only happen when you lay on the Lord. That's where we find true rest as Christians.
Right.
And so thank you so much. It's a good reminder.
Absolutely. And we just want our podcast, as we do this, to be a place that people
Yeah.
do find entertainment and fun. But we also, with Scott, you and I, we know we're doing this because we believe at the end of every podcast that people are finding hope and truth and inspiration and things that point them toward the
Yep.
Lord. So we hope that you take this challenge to do less and rest more and to rest in the Lord. Thank you for
Yeah.
listening here to Inspired Sports, your place for clean sports talk with real inspiration.